Good morning and welcome to day 12 of Spiritual Success, 12 of 21 days of Spiritual Success. My name is Monica Reyes and I am a spiritual success coach. I'm taking you through 21 days of spiritual development designed to create small shifts for big changes in your life. So welcome to day 12. Beautiful day today. Oh my gosh. If you're in South Florida, you know what I mean. It's probably gonna get a little hot, but it is gorgeous outside and I am just so excited. I love the week, but I also love the weekend, because it's family time. I feel like, I still have these old beliefs that I'm working on currently because I used to be a workaholic, and being able to, the weekend just is a permission to relax and to play and to have fun and to, no excuses, like I don't have to work if I don't want to, although I love to work. So I find myself doing work. This is considered work, but I love it. So yesterday we talked about finished off the ego, taking action. Today we're going to talk about self-love, and we're walking into the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. It's my favorite chakra. It's the chakra for spiritual awakening. This is when it changes from me to we. This is where you start to feel this connection to others. You start to feel this, like realizing that there's more to life than just yourself. There is this loss of separation, right? The ego starts to fall away, and you start to realize that you are a big part of this huge fabric that we call life. You are a part of this universe, and in fact, you are the universe, and we are each other. We are just drops of the same ocean. You can't separate drops from the ocean. Once the drop goes in the ocean, you don't know where that drop went, right? And it's a symbol and a metaphor for who we are. So today I'm going to divide love into two parts. Today is going to be about self-love. Tomorrow we're going to talk about loving others. And of course self-love would come first, because before you can really love someone, you really need to love yourself. So self-love is very important. It's important to being well. It's important to our welfare. It influences who you pick as a boyfriend, as a girlfriend, as a husband, as a wife. It influences how you show up at work. It influences everything. Really how you cope with your problems. So it's incredibly, incredibly important. And you can't get self-love from a relationship. You can't get it from reading something inspirational. You can't get it, it's not a state of mind. It is actually, it is caused by actions. Okay. And that's how it grows. It's an appreciation that we gain for ourselves that, is found, it's created by actions, and so we have to do something in order to gain this self-love. And what it does is it allows our psychological, physical, and spiritual growth to really elevate and develop. So today I'm going to give you some tips, some 7 things you can do to enhance your self-love, and you can do one of them, you can do all of them, and I always just keep these in mind. For me, like I mentioned before, I was a workaholic. I really, really love to work. I, built a huge law firm with my partners, and I worked really, really hard, and I was working almost like 7 days a week, and it was a lot of work, but and at the same time I had a new baby, and so I found myself with no identity. And this is actually when I first went to Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power from Within, my law firm. We actually, the 3 of us went, and we brought our one of our managers, and the goal for me that moment was to find more self-love, because although I had some confidence, it wasn't about that. It was more about having self-care and doing things that I love and doing things that made me happy. I was so busy helping others, and I was not only married to my husband, but married to my business, and I had a new baby, and so I was constantly taking care of all of that, and I was always coming last. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what I was passionate about. I had completely lost, and I started to feel very resentful and really unhappy. And and it's interesting because my husband was kind of doing the same, and when I started to take action and started to do things that made me happier, I gave him permission to do the same. And now it's incredible. Our relationship is totally like elevated and different because now we have these two separate lives and we come together as a unit, so we're both very strong individually, and we're not like, it's not codependent where, and that's sort of where it was. We had to do everything together and we didn't have our own separate identities. That's just not, it's not healthy. And we don't give ourselves space to be happy and fulfilled. Totally different story now. And so after that, Unleash the Power Within, I made a commitment. And so I actually started to hang out with my girlfriends. At the time I had friends, but I never hung out with them. So I was like, I'm allowed to do this. Like, I don't need to feel guilty to hang out with my girlfriends. I'm allowed to have space. I'm allowed to do things that make me happy. I ended up becoming a Kundalini yoga teacher. Look where that took me. Completely changed my life. So these steps are going to take you towards self-love, towards loving yourself, and these are action steps, all right? And this is what it's all about. Okay, so so what self-love does is it brings you more compassion, more acceptance. It allows you to be centered, and of course fulfillment. So number one is be mindful, and we've talked about mindfulness a little bit. I'm gonna, as we move along, now that we're starting to move out of the lower triangle of the chakras and we're moving up into the upper. After the fourth chakra, we're going to move up into the upper triangle, which are the more higher consciousness. This is going to be more about mindfulness. We're going to really move, hit it hard with meditation, and we're going to tap into intuition and, and all of that awesome stuff. So being mindful is, being mindful about yourself. Like, what are your needs? What do you need? What do you want? What are your feelings? Like, really knowing who you are and just like paying attention, because that was sort of the beginning of mine, is like, what do I need? What do I want? What do I need to be fulfilled? And the more that you tap into that, the more that because you don't know what you don't know. And if you kind of avoid it and if you don't pay attention, then you don't know how to love yourself. But if you tap in and you really get to know yourself, then you will fall in love with yourself because you are you. Practice self-care. So, and this could be anything from like get a manicure, go work out. Like, it makes me happy to work out. When I was actually just a few months ago, I think somewhere in December was my last like rut. And I was going through something emotionally. I do a lot of different types of things like meditations and different types of retreats and stuff. And so I was moving through something, and I found myself on the couch, for like 3 days straight in pajamas. I hadn't showered, I was eating like crap, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to allow myself to be here for a second. And I'm just going to, just let myself mourn and get through this, whatever the hell it is. But then after 2 to 3 days, like, I'm out, I'm done. I only give myself about 48 to 36, like that amount of time, 2 to 3 days. And then from there, I'm up, I'm at it. And the way that I got myself out of that rut was exercise, vigorous exercise, something that always gets me going. A manicure or a massage is really nice. Sometimes self-care could be speaking up. If this is something, if you're not saying, like, speaking your needs, which is also something that I wasn't doing, something I'm still working on, that's a form of self-care. That's a form of self-love, because we're not mind readers. Your husband, your wife, they're not mind readers. And sometimes we're afraid to say what we speak depending on our past. We might, for me, I was in a relationship that whenever I would speak up, I'd get like backlash. And so I started to be afraid of speaking up. And then I just completely stopped, and of course, relationships are all about communication, and it's a form of self-love. So I'm able to tell my husband, no, this is what I need, and others as well. So that's what we can do as well. Another thing is set boundaries. So this one's a little bit harder depending on where your past has taken you, where your childhood, where you came from. But setting boundaries is a form of self-love. If you're doing something that does not serve you, you're not loving yourself. If you're, and this could be work related, and to those who are, like sometimes please others, because and we all do it on some form, but it's really, really important to set boundaries. And this is kind of a balance, because when I first started to set boundaries, I put the wall up, because that was the only way that I could do it. was like putting the wall up and saying no to everything. No, 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 you know, but it's like everything else, there's a balance, you know, a healthy boundary. But what I do is I just look with it when it's business related or personally related. I look, is it aligned with me? Is it aligned with my values? If it's my business, is it aligned with my brand? Is it aligned with what I'm building? You know, just being conscious and knowing where you're going, what you want, what's important to you, which is why number one is so important. And then you're able to then set boundaries and say, I'm sorry, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't do this engagement. This activity, you know, is only going to deplete me. You know, knowing what fuels you, what's energy rich and what's draining is super duper duper important. Forgive yourself. This is, you know, oh God, you know, holding on to stuff that we've done, you know, God, that was so stupid. Why did you do that? Oh my God, you know, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you sent that text, you know, whatever. Forgive yourself. Like, you know, like the first thing I think, like the thing that pops in my head now, I've got myself trained is like, all right, life is perfect, right? The universe is perfect. It's, you know, there are no mistakes. And so I'm like, all right, well, you know, that person was supposed to get that email by accident, you know, or, well, I was supposed to mess up like that, you know, and I don't use it as an excuse of like, you know, showing up, you know, unprepared or, you know, not being organized or, you know, like I still bring my best to everything that I do and I still show up, you know, the best that I can. And, you know, and that's, you know, in personal and in business life, but I'm easy on myself, you know, and this is coming from somebody that has very, very high standards because what I realized is I was not only putting these high standards on myself, I was putting them on everyone else. And that's just not, I felt like that just wasn't fair, you know, because like those are my standards and they were very irrational, because I was shooting for perfection. And so now, you know, I'm allowing life to flow. I allow life to get messy and I'm just so much happier now that I'm not so rigid and I can have fun and I can be silly and I can mess up and I can do a million ums in my videos, you know, and that's like, it's okay. You know, I'm accepting my humanness and I love it. And, you know, and that was probably for me, like the biggest step in loving myself was like allowing myself to make mistakes and being like, hell yeah, you know what? I made a mistake. I owned it. Let me fix it. Other step is live intentionally. So step number one, again, was being mindful, knowing about yourself. So what do you want? You know, living your life by design versus by default. Sometimes we go through life just kind of letting things go, you know, like passively, you know, this is a third chakra thing, like we discussed, you know, but if we can instead live life intentionally, set goals, you know, so one thing I committed to this year is to set goals every 90 days, you know, and I do one personal and one professional. And I don't always get to do it, which is why I have my husband to hold me accountable. But this is a form of self-love, you know, because I want to live a meaningful life and I want to live a life of intention. I want to live a life by design. But if you don't know where you're going and you don't allow yourself to stay accountable or be, you know, or even measure yourself, and this is also important personally, then you might just end up staying in the same place. And how would you actually test that, you know, whether you were making any progress? So, and the more you see yourself accomplish, like, you know, setting milestones, and if this is for weight loss, even if you want to learn how to meditate, you know, just set little milestones for you. This is why I love doing these challenges. You know, I am constantly pushing myself to the next level. So, you know, like this time around, I'm doing 3 different 40-day, you know, meditations. The first time I ever tried that, I did one 40-day meditation. And on day 12, I had to start over because I ended up going to some event. I ended up staying way too late. And I was like, I was so mad, but you know what? I had to start over. And this was a really, really tough meditation. It was a 36-minute meditation where you're bowing, like you're bowing and it's really, really hard. It's like physical. But, you know, like I accepted the fact that happened and I just kept going and I never missed another one, you know, and so I never missed, and I've never messed up another 40-day, and, you know, and so it's okay. It's okay to fail, but, you know, but hitting, you know, seeing yourself progress spiritually, physically, personally is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you will inspire yourself. Like this is the year for me, is the year of inspiration, of inspiring myself. Like, wow, you know, you were living an extraordinary life. And you were, you know, I posted something today on my Instagram of like, are you living or are you existing? And this is, you know, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you can either live or you can really live, or you can just exist. You can just do things the way that you've always done, or you can really live, you know, make a difference in someone's life, do something that makes you feel really good. Live an extraordinary life. Like, this is one life that we have. Like, what are you going to do with it? Another thing I like to add is write yourself a love note, you know, or a little love affirmation. You know, like, when was the last time you did that? I bet you've never done it. You know, write yourself something loving. You know, give yourself a hug during the day. I mean, like, your body, your soul is waiting for you. You know, just like somebody, just think about it. Like, the way that we're wanting love from others, like, you want love from you. You want love from yourself. And you know, by showing yourself like a gift of appreciation, or, you know, giving yourself something, celebrate your wins, reward yourself. It really goes a long way. I have a picture up above my mirror, you know, whenever I'm feeling kind of, my husband put it up there. It's so awesome. And it's of me, like, you know, speaking when I'm in my element, you know, and it reminds me, it's for me, that's my self-love. I look at myself and I'm like, I'm proud of myself up there. And it makes me feel good. You know, it's right above my mirror. So, you know, if I'm looking at myself and I don't feel my best for some reason, I look up there and I remind myself of my best. So, you know, even just like Luli B, if you've ever heard of her, she's got these awesome affirmation cards, like, you know, and I have those in my bathroom, really, really awesome. And they just remind you of awesome affirmations. You know, again, that's just one step, but if you do all 7, you know, these are small shifts. You can take them one by one, or you can do them all together. You know, this is a change. It's a shift. And just remember that you are the only one holding yourself back. You know, like, everybody started from where we are, right? I mean, everybody that's ever been great is like, they're ordinary, right? They're ordinary, normal people, but they they made a decision one day and said, you know what? I am meant for greatness, and I'm going to shoot for the freaking stars. I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to do what I've been meant to do. So you are the only one holding yourself back. So, you know, are you living or are you existing? All right, guys. Wow. So hope you have a beautiful day today. Really enjoy your Saturday. You know, shoot yourself a love text, or remind yourself, even a reminder on your calendar, like, I am enough. I am love. There's a beautiful mantra, Kundalini mantra, called I'm beautiful. I'm bountiful. I am blissful. That's it's a power of any mantra. What I love about mantras is that they carry a vibrational, like a high vibration. You know, people have been chanting these for like hundreds of years. So, you know, anytime you use any of the mantras that I've given you, they hold a vibration, and, you know, and like, you're saying them, and so they're affecting you. So that's a mantra. I am beautiful. I am bountiful. I am blissful. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30, and we're going to talk about how to love others, very, you know, healthy, with an open heart. And I'm going to give you a meditation for that. All right. See you later. Mwah.